In this video, I'm going to be taking you through how me and my team have qualified for the Brawl Stars World Finals. Now, we've been playing all year long, but the competition is super close. Going into this last monthly final, the leaderboards between the top 3 teams is basically equal. It's so close, in fact, that this last monthly final, whoever wins will go straight to World Finals. Now, our first opponents of the day were none other than R7, the team right behind us in points on the leaderboard. This match was so important because if we lose, not only do we not make Worlds, but our season would be over. We readied up, hopped into our first map, which was Infinite Doom. Now, this map we actually changed stuff literally 2 minutes before the draft started, which kind of backfired. We were now drafting in unfamiliar territory, but this is still winnable. They ended up drafting a high HP long range comp, whereas we drafted a mid-range squishy comp. So that basically means we needed to win control at the start of the game to even kind of stand a chance at winning the set. Now, as we hopped into the first game, we popped our gadgets early trying to get control of the mid, but unfortunately they also popped their gadgets early and they managed to get a bunch of kills, gaining control really early on in the game. Now, once we were stuck in our spawn, it was basically impossible for us to come back up the map, so they held control throughout the game and they managed to take game 1. Now, also, if you're wondering why I'm not playing, I'm actually the coach for this team, so I just wanted to save you guys the comments. Now, game 2, we knew we had to have a better start than the first, and that's exactly what we did. We got a few kills at the start of game 2, and we managed to get a little bit of control, but they didn't stop letting up the pressure. They used their high HP, pushed back up the map, and eventually pushed us back all the way into spawn. Now, the difference this time is we had the lead, so all we had to do was stay alive in our spawn, and hopefully they make a few mistakes trying to kill us. However, they played it very smart. They slowly picked away at our HP, grabbing a few kills here and there, and then eventually grabbing the lead and backing up, making it really hard for us to push into them, and so they took game number 2 and set number 1. Set number 2 was going to be on Ring of Fire, a more comfortable map for our team. The draft played out and both teams had decent comps. Our comp was to have our Tara play aggro while Mr. P and Bell tried to lock down the mid, whereas their comp had Carl try to play aggro and Squeak and Lou try to hold mid. Now, the first game wasn't looking too hot. They grabbed a massive lead at the start of the game, 60% to 4, but luckily our comp is slowly better towards the end of the game. As we get Mr. P porters and Tara pull, we can slowly come back. Now, once we got set up, we slowly started to close the gap, grabbing as much percentage as we could here and there, and eventually the gap really closed down to about equal. And the game was super close with about 15 seconds left on the clock.
With that super does do so, eventually forced to hide behind the surfboards there. That was gravity is popped in the top right corner of the map, and Zeus is under serious pressure. Marked by Livy here. This is going to be a photo finish, everybody. Tribe Gaming now even in percentage and getting ahead. Luffy needs to step up and throw himself at that point, but Zeus is not going to get there in time. And Tribe, play the long game, slow roll.
Now, game 2 had a similar start. They grabbed an early lead, but it wasn't as big of a gap this time around. Again, we kept the lead relatively close until the final seconds of game number 2.
Tyrant just wants to get aggressive now. The blunt object, they need to keep remaining 7 off the point. Tribe have gotten themselves into the lead once more, but the super from Lou. Luffy's able to lay it down. The poke makes it half for remaining 7 to get the percentage of their own, but they've evened it up once more themselves. Luffy with the super, getting caught out. The gravity wasn't needed in the end, and Tribe get themselves into the lead. They're going to take away the set.
Now, with that win, we took set number 2 and tied up the series. Now, at this point, Uber the caster actually pointed out something really crazy that I want you guys to hear.
If Tribe lose this match, it'll be the first time that a Tribe team has not been part of a BSC international competition. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022 Worlds, and 2022 MSI. I mean, it wouldn't be the same without this Tribe team. It looks like they know it too. They fought hard to take that second set away.
And he was right. We knew how much was on the line here, so it was time to start heating up in set 3. As we hopped into set number 3 on Hard Rock Mine, our game plan was to play super aggro, and our game plan almost worked to perfection. As Tyrant and Zulon caused distractions, Livy was able to grab those gems, getting us countdown relatively quickly. And with that, we managed to win game 1, and game 2, basically the exact same thing happened. They had a little bit more control at one point inside the game, but again, we had so much pressure, they really couldn't do too much. And so we grabbed game number 2 and the set number 3. We were now up 2 sets to 1, and we were hopping into the 4th set, and if we win this, we would move on to the finals. Now, set 4 was wild. We knew going into this that the only brawler we really had to pay attention to was Nita on their team. We just had to make sure Nita Bear never got onto our safe, and we would be okay. Now, game 1 was really close until this deciding play. Nita was on our safe while Zuan was respawning, and he knew that if he rolled past Nita, we could outdamage them and win the game. But as he was rolling past, Killer managed to get one hit off on Zulon, charging the bear. And well, once Bruce started beating away at our safe, Bruce managed to do 100% to 0, so we lost game number 1. Now game 2, we just knew that we couldn't make that same mistake. Instead, we actually popped off on the right side, managing to grab 2 kills and letting Daryl and Tara get on their safe. This gave us a huge lead, and we knew we only just needed one more push to end the game. So we made a nice little team play with his Livy's Tara super and Daryl rolling in at the exact same time, managing to grab a kill onto Killer and putting down the safe to basically no HP. Tyrant then ran up the map, jumped over the wall, and ended the game, giving us game number 2. We were now on match point. We just needed to win this next game to win the series and put us to the finals. Now game 3 was super close, both teams grabbing a little bit of damage here and there, but it all came down to this very nice play on the right side by Zulon. Zulon managed to grab a kill on Killer, allowing Tara and Daryl to get back on their safe, while all we had to do was let Tyrant defend both Spike and Max. And with that play, we managed to grab a huge lead inside the game. We had such a huge lead that as long as we don't panic, we are probably going to win this game. Then eventually Tyrant pushed up the map, destroying their safe, securing our win, and now leading us into the finals. Now it all comes down to this. If you've been following the Brawl Stars season, you'd know that we've lost to CMG a couple times this year, and so at this point, we were actually underdogs in this finals match. We only had one caster who thought we were actually going to win, shout out to my boy Kenny, but that wasn't going to stop us. If anything, it fueled us. Now the first map was Bell's Rock. Now the draft played out giving both teams some pretty solid comps. It really just came down to execution this set. We needed to make sure that we had Lola or Squeak on Shelly at all times, while we tried to match the Brock versus the Bonnie. Now the first round we didn't really stick to our game plan. It ended up being super close, but they managed to get the matchups they wanted and took round number 1. Round 2, though, we found our footing and managed to stick to the game plan a little bit more, and we managed to catch Toast in a bad spot. With us taking him down, it was now a 3v2, and so we were going to win that, and we just charged our supers, giving us a huge advantage going into round number 3. Round number 3, Zulon hit some crazy beam shots with Lola onto the Sprout, taking him down, while also putting RBM in a really terrible spot. Now RBM managed to trade the kill onto Zulon, but his Livy got the return kill and left us in another 2v1 versus Toast, and well, we managed to win that 2v1, giving us game number 1. In game number 2, it seemed like we were all on the same page, sticking exactly to our game plan, taking round number 1, but round number 2 was going to be much closer. It came down to the end.
Off on the left side, Tyrant has a super he can use, but he's going to look to use it on Fade instead. Big damage, Fade remains alive, but only for a moment longer. Zulon taken down, Toast is the last member remaining, and Tyrant and his Livy combined forces.
And with that, we won set number 1. Set number 2 was going to be on Canal Grande, a pretty annoying map to play because it's pretty spawn trappy, but the draft played out, and on paper, they actually had probably the better comp. However, I think our comp was pretty underrated. We had such a good control comp that if we gained control one time, we were probably going to be able to spawn trap them for the rest of the game. Now, game 1 played out pretty slow. We eventually poked them down, taking control of the map, but they did a really good job at surviving in their base. It came down to the last few seconds, as always.
Stints, he's pushing forward gradually, trying to catch his Livy off guard, but he's out of gadgets now. It looks like has a whole lot of range, but it's not going to go anywhere. 5 seconds left, and we got to see some stars. Tribe Gaming get that last kill, and Tyrant's ready to send things to the Shadow Realm.
Now, game 2, the same thing happened, except they did an even better job at surviving in their base. The game came down to the wire again, but instead of us getting the kills, we died. So they took game number 2. Game 3 was a little bit more action-packed at the start. A few kills were traded by both sides, but they still managed to keep the lead towards the end of the game. But once we got control, that's where our Lou pick shined. We trapped them in their spawn once again, managing to walk out with the lead and walk all the way to our spawn to finish off the game and take set number 2. Now we were one set away from making it to the Brawl Stars World Finals. So that leads us to double swoosh. Now, as the draft was playing out, we had our last pick and our team really didn't know what to pick. I suggested Janet early on, but my team wasn't sure because Janet as a brawler got hard nerfed. And as the clock was ticking down, I asked my team, "Do you trust me?" And they all said yes. And then I said it. Lock in the Janet. And honestly, everyone was confused. Even the announcers had no idea what was going on. Now, at this point, everyone was confused with the Janet pick. Twitch chat didn't believe in it, and the announcers weren't really sure either.
Janet is certainly a brawler. She's definitely fallen a lot in the recent meta.
But as we hopped into the game, the pick really shined. Everyone on their team won their lane really early on, and once we get control, the games are really hard for them to come back. Our comp is so good at holding them in their spawn with the Janet gadget and the Otis gadgets, so it's really hard for them to push up. And in game 1, that's what we did. We managed to grab the 10 gems really early on, and with 6 seconds left on the clock, Janet took flight, and that locked us in game number 1. Now at this point, we were one game away from booking our trip to the World Finals. Game number 2, we had a similar start, pushing up early with the Otis gadgets and the Janet gadget, trapping them in their spawn once again. We then held control as long as we could, hoping that Zulon could grab 10 gems in time, and he just managed to do so. And as Zulon grabbed the 10th gem, the counter started, and here's the last seconds of the game.
Shade on the right, Zulon, he's able to super. Once his clock gets down too far, it's gonna be inevitable. Just 5 seconds left. Zulon, he's able to take to the skies. CMG, they know it's over. Their hopes of worlds all but dashed, in Tribe Gaming ascend in their place. They are your monthly finals champions here in NA East for August, and they will be representing this region on the international stage at the Brawl Stars World Finals.
Now quickly, I just want to say GG's to CMG and R7. These guys are an amazing team, and I have nothing but respect for them. They really did push us to the limit this year. But that's how we qualified for the Brawl Stars World Finals. If you guys enjoyed this video, please smash the like button and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.